A staggering statistic that I was just recently made aware of is, do you know that 1 in 10 elderly or aging adults have been victims of some form of elder abuse? And to me, that is just staggering. And so tonight we are going to talk about that. We're getting ready to launch our Senior Care Summit 2024 on Friday. So registration is only open for a couple of more days. But we are Samantha Pierson. She is a client services director for Turning Point for victims of domestic and sexual violence. And she is going to be doing her presentation on this very topic on elder abuse. And so she's going to get into a lot more detail, looking about what to do, how to manage, what do you look for, the signs, symptoms, and also how difficult it may be sometimes to actually put a plan in place. So what tonight, just to kind of preclude that, we just want to bring awareness, and we're going to talk a little bit about what are the different types of elder abuse. And I want to share a real life example with you that I experienced when I was in home care with an actual aging adult. So welcome to Tuesday Tips. My name is Pam Dunwald. I am one of your nurse advocates with Your Nurse Advocate Consulting. And we are here every Tuesday for Tuesday Tips. And we are live in our Facebook forum, Speaking Out on the Care of Aging Parent. And this month we've been also live in our Facebook, on our Facebook page. So if you're watching this video, we're glad you're here. If you're catching the replay, we're glad that you thought that it was valuable to take a peek afterwards. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen. And alrighty, and here we go. So let's look at the different types of abuse. And how I titled the presentation "Elder Abuse: The Cold, Sad Reality," which I feel that it really is. So the 5 types of elder abuse are physical, emotional, financial, neglect, and sexual. So we're going to talk a little bit about those individually. So obviously, I mean, physical abuse means there's abuse physically. So bruising, even you know arms, I mean, just different areas of injury, cuts, scrapes, things like that. I hate to say it, physical abuse can come from anywhere. I mean, it could come from home with a family caregiver, or it could be in a facility. So no one is immune, and it can happen anywhere. So we want to make sure that we're looking for physical abuse. Emotional abuse, that gets a little bit trickier. Emotional abuse, now you think about our seniors, and you think about they're very vulnerable. Maybe they're aging in place at home, and they're relying on outside caregivers to be able to maintain their ability to stay at home. And sometimes they are taken advantage of. I mean, especially someone with dementia, they could be treated, as children, yelled at, scolded, and our aging adults, they may, the only sign you may see is maybe they're just quiet and withdrawn because they don't want to speak out, because they know that they rely or depend on that caregiver, so they're afraid to say anything. So there's emotional abuse, making someone feel unappreciative, not respected, just demeaning them, or just treating them as if they don't matter. Then we have financial abuse. Financial abuse, again, oftentimes occurs in families where, they're taking care of mom or dad, grandma or grandpa, and grandma and grandpa is paying them. They're taking their social security checks or whatever money, and it happens. We see it all the time. And I hate to say it, that people would do those kind of things, but it's too naive to think that that's not going on, because it is. I'm going to tell you a quick story. Well, I guess I'll bring that up in a minute. Let's run through these. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole yet. But neglect could be something. It could again occur at home, or it could occur in a facility. Neglect might be leaving someone in bed that has poor mobility, not turning them, repositioning them, getting them up. They're full of bed sores. that could be considered neglect. Their hygiene needs are not being met on a regular basis. That could be neglect. And again, this could occur both at home or in a facility. Sexual abuse. If you join us on the Senior Care Summit and you hear Samantha's presentation, it's going to blow you away with some of the things that she said. And this is one thing that I'll share from her presentation that I just really had a hard time wrapping my arms around. And that's that aging adults, the elderly, have the highest amount of sexually transmitted diseases. And that just floored me. And so again, aging adults, especially those with dementia or cognitive deficits, are so vulnerable because they often are not going to say anything or don't have the ability to let someone know what's going on. So this just breaks my heart. All of this does. All right, well, let's move on here. So I'm going to share a story with you. So I did over 20 years in home health, and I was a new, what we call field nurse. I was out in the public, out seeing patients, and we lived in a very rural community in western Kenosha County, in Wisconsin here, and we got a referral, typical referral, nothing really strange about it. This elderly woman had been in the hospital. She was there with congestive heart failure, started on, had some medication changes. We're going to monitor her cardiorespiratory system. It really seemed very straightforward. There was family at home. She was living with her son and daughter-in-law. There was grandkids that checked on her and helped her. So we really thought it's going to be a very appropriate case, for home care, just very routine, no red flags. And so contacted the son. The son was the activated power of attorney. And that had been determined that she was not able to make her own decisions. So we made the arrangements with the son to go out and see her. And so I did. And so I was told, that she was expecting me, just knock on the door and go in. And, in our rural community, that wasn't anything that was overly unusual. A lot of people left their doors open or said, oh, come through the garage. In home health, that wasn't, unusual for us to be told that. So I go there, I get in there, and what I found is here's this elderly woman tied to a recliner. Physically tied. She had a little TV tray or snack table next to her with a glass of juice and a sandwich. And she had a brief on, and she was told to just pee in her pants because they didn't want her to get up and fall while she was going to, she had to get up to the bathroom. And I talked to this woman. I was kind of speechless at first. Talked to this woman. Her and I had a wonderful conversation. She seemed alert. She could tell me what's going on. She says, oh, this is normal. My family doesn't want me to fall. My grandson should be home around 3:30, 4 o'clock from high school, and then he'll untie me and I'll, get to go to the bathroom. She was recently treated with a urinary tract infection, which if you're tied to the chair all day long and you don't want to pee, in your brief, that would obviously contribute to that. And so I continue to do my assessment, and I'm like, what do I do? I have to do something. As nurses, we're mandatory reporters. So we are obliged by our license to say something or to do something in a situation where we think their neglect or abuse is in place. So I called a social worker, and she made a complaint or I'm sorry, not a complaint, but she filed a report to Adult Protective Services. And the Adult Protective Services, the social worker, they'd made an arrangement. They just said it was a routine check. And, we try to be very casual about it. I didn't want anyone to, we needed to investigate the situation further. Well, when the social worker went out the next morning at the agreed upon time, the house was empty. No one answered the door. The police were called to do a welfare check because we knew that she had been left alone. So we were concerned that she was in there alone. Place was gone. Their belongings, everything they picked up, they left. They were out of Dodge. where they were living was right on the state line. They popped over into Illinois. The sad thing is I, at that point in time, the home care agency was out of it. Um, she was no longer our client, obviously. So we don't really know what happened in that situation, if they were ever able to track them down. But again, just really obvious here that they were wanting to go to great lengths to keep her at home. They were probably getting her Social Security or whatever money that she had, and I wouldn't have wanted to believe it had I not, seen that with my own eyes. So it was just heartbreaking. We talked a little bit about Samantha Pierson. Come on over, Senior Care Summit 2024. We have 34 topics, 32 speakers on all things, both healthcare related as well as supportive services, just a library of resources for you. Maybe you don't need some right now, but a month from now you might, and then you'll have all your resources at your fingertips. We've got a free version as well as a VIP. So come on over. We only have 2 more days for registration, but come and check it out. So what do you do? Helpline, Samantha's going to go into a lot of this. The plan to leave. This was one thing that we don't have time to go into this, but Samantha does go into this at great length, what you need to consider when the plan is to leave or to remove someone from this situation. It is definitely not as simple as you think. And so I highly encourage you to catch, Samantha's video. There is definitely a planning process, and sometimes a long planning process to put safety measures in place before you leave. And then supportive services such as Turning Point or a shelter or the Aging and Disability Resource Center, Adult Protective Services. There's lots of resources out there to help everyone cope with what the after effects are of an aging loved one that's suffered some form of abuse. So we just going to end with this with Your Nurse Advocate Consulting. Why choose us? I mean, we bring a concierge service to you. We have a broad experience, over 80 years of combined experience with Linda and I. We're more than ready to, we know it's very overwhelming for you to access the resources in the healthcare system, let alone all the stress that you are by, caring for an aging loved one and balancing your career and your family. So if you need help sorting anything out, whether it's a task or whether we're just checking in monthly, we would love to help you and make sure that your loved one has the best care possible. Just going to wrap up with, this is Pam, obviously you can see me. This is my partner, Linda, and our contact information. We've got lots of free resources for you, so check those out. And with that, I'm going to say thank you, and we will see you next week for another Tuesday Tips. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen here, and I will see you back in another Tuesday Tips. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye.